Greetings! For today's news, Memory and Devotion to Western Armenia, an interview with Armenag Aprahamian. The 106th anniversary of the formation of the Armenian Legion, invitation. The 62nd issue of the Western Armenia Weekly has been published. A Saghman village, a testament to Armenians' historical past in Dersim. I have never forgotten that I am Armenian, Arman Hovhannisyan. Applications submitted to include Montebello's Genocide Memorial, among historic monuments. The hidden Armenians of Western Armenia, searching for the identities of genocide survivors. During an interview with Western Armenia TV, Armenag Aprahamian, president of the National Council of Western Armenia, spoke about his family's history and his ongoing struggle for Western Armenia. He began by warmly thanking the television channel and its editorial team for their tireless efforts in representing Western Armenia, both within the Armenian world and beyond. Speaking about his roots, Aprahamian shared that his family's history is deeply connected to the tragic events that shook Western Armenia. His grandfather, originally from Taron, and his grandmother from Sebastia, formed a family that was forced into exile in France in the 1920s. Like many Armenian families, his relatives enduring the horrors of the genocide, which led to scattering of the descendants across different countries. Some found refugees in Greece and Bulgaria, while others joined the Soviet army and settled in Russia. This forced displacement was a tremendous upheaval for families that had once led a prosperous life in Western Armenia. His ancestors were wealthy landowners, primarily engaged in agriculture. His paternal grandfather, a miller, owned his own mill, which provided economic stability and a livelihood for the family. In his speech, Aprahamian emphasized the importance of preserving memory and achieving historical recognition. His dedication to the cause of Western Armenia is part of an ongoing struggle for justice and the protection of the Armenian people's rights. This moving and historically rich interview reflects the unwavering determination to amplify the voices of Western Armenians and continue the fight for recognition and restitution. The National Assembly and Government of Western Armenia invites you to a Zoom meeting on the 106th anniversary of the Armenian Legion. The meeting will be held on February 1st, 2025 at 11 a.m. Paris time and 2 p.m. Yerevan time in Armenian. The meeting will cover the history and significance of the Armenian Legion, which was formed during World War I to fight against the Ottoman Empire and support the Armenian liberation movement. The latest issue of the Western Armenia weekly newspaper, number 62, has been published. The cover features Stepanakert Renaissance Square, decorated with a Christmas tree, symbolizing Artsak's last New Year under blockade. This issue includes notable articles such as a tribute to Shoan Nash Marshal, a great friend of the Armenian people, whose legacy remains invaluable. The issue also covers Azerbaijan's policies and the decisions made by Eastern Armenia that favor Azerbaijan, analyzed by experts. The newspaper highlights the difficult living conditions of displaced Armenians from Artsakh and their Christmas celebrations far from their homeland. The consequences of the Artsakh war continue to deeply affect thousands of Armenians, making this topic a key focus. Special attention is given to the visit of the French ambassador to Eastern Armenia, an important diplomatic event. Readers will also find an article by Karen Matevosyan titled The History and Culture of Ani, summarizing 40 years of research. Western Armenia continues its mission of advocating for historical justice, defending Armenian rights, and preserving cultural heritage. It is available in Armenian, Turkish, English, and French. Find the link below. Saghman village, a testament to Armenia's historical past in Dersim. Saghman village, located in Dersim region, has a rich history and cultural heritage. Historically, it was predominantly Armenian village. In 1518 and 1523, only Armenians lived there. However, by 1541, demographic changes led to a mixed population of 90 Armenian and 24 Muslim families. Before 1950s, the village had 30 Armenian and 520 Turkish families. The decline in Armenian population was due to the genocide against Armenians, which forced many to leave. Saghman had a church named Saint Sarkis, serving as a religion and cultural center. According to Nishanyan's map, many local Sunni residents were descendants of Armenians who converted to Islam before the 19th century. This shows that despite demographic changes, Armenian heritage remained present in the village. Above Saghman was the St. Mary Monastery, an important pilgrimage site and spiritual center for the community. It also functioned as an educational and cultural hub. Unfortunately, the monastery was destroyed, leaving no traces behind. Today, Saghman no longer resembles its vibrant past, but its history remains a reminder of the region's cultural transformations and losses. Famous Armenian singer and honored artist Arman Hovhannisyan responded on social media to Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's controversial statement about the genocide against Armenians. In life and in music, I have never forgotten that I am Armenian, that I have history, unforgettable pain and victory that must be returned, Hovhannisyan wrote. The Prime Minister's words sparked widespread discussions in Armenian society, with intellectual, political, and cultural figures sharing their opinions. The genocide against Armenians is not just a historical fact, but an ongoing struggle for international recognition and justice. National unity is crucial in this matter, and statements from cultural figures serves as a reminder to always protect Armenian values, regardless of political circumstances. The California Armenian Legislative Assembly has announced that a letter signed by 36 of its members has been sent to a State Historical Resources Commission, requesting that the Montebello memorial dedicated to the commemoration of the genocide against Armenians be included in the Californians' list of the state landmarks. The letter highlights that the memorial, which resembles the dome of an Armenian church and is built in a modern style, has served as a place of remembrance of the victims of the genocide against Armenians since 1968. It is also noted that the memorial is located in the public area and is the first memorial dedicated to the genocide against Armenians. It is worth mentioning that the number of members in California Armenian Legislative Assembly has recently reached 50, and its new leader is California State Assembly member Jan Hayrapetyan. For a long time, it was believed that after the massacres of 1950, there was no longer any Armenian presence in eastern Turkey. As a result of the genocide carried out by Ottoman Empire, those who survived in Western Armenia were forcibly converted to Islam, losing most of their Christian identity. However, some Armenians managed to survive and, along with their children, concealed their origin throughout the last century. Many of them were orphans adopted by Turks, and only later in life did they discover their true identity. On the outside, they appeared to be Turks or Kurds, and while some embraced Islam, others secretly continued to uphold Christian and Armenian traditions. In recent years, more and more secret Armenians have begun to emerge from the shadows. Influenced by voices of courage such as that of journalist Hrant Dink's, the desire for freedom of speech and the search for the identity have spread throughout the region. Avetis Khachaturian traveled through towns and villages once inhabited by Armenians, recording the stories of those who still live in those areas, which are now considered unsafe for their ancestors. These stories were published in his book, Secret Nation, which sheds light on the lives, struggles, and cultural heritage of these people, revealing the deep, lasting consequences of the genocide. Secret Nation revives history and uncovers this hidden narrative. That's all for today's news, and goodbye.